If you look at the newspapers and see the news reports, you'll be told that a wonderful thing is going on. Yeah, wonderful. The electricity companies are going to pay you money. How about that? That's cracking, isn't it, really? All you've got to do is be registered and turn off all your appliances between 5 and 6 p.m. My contention is, far from being good, this shows you what a blimmin' mess we're in. But somebody who knows far more about this than I do is, of course, friend of the programme, former government advisor on energy security, Clive Moffatt. Well, Clive.
Good evening. It's
not as if you didn't predict this would happen. We talked about what happened when the weather got cold. Explain to folks what's really going on.
Well, I think it's appalling, really, that the grid is taking all this time for the grid to finally concede that it's going to become normal for them to either voluntarily induce customers to cut off their demand, or, I suspect, actually enforce some form of regular blackouts to actually balance supply and demand of electricity. And I think it's a testament to the fact that successive governments, I think for 15 years now, have, in their pursuit of decarbonisation of the electricity system, have basically ignored the need to underpin new investment in energy security, and in particular the need to sustain gas for heat and power in the next 10 to 15 years.
Yes, I mean, however bigger stock we have of wind turbines or solar panels, we're always going to need that. Well, we're going to need that fossil fuel back up for a very long time, aren't we?
Yes, we are. And I think the intermittency is an interesting question. People say, oh, wind is intermittent. There are two aspects to this. The grid has announced today a scheme which, quite frankly, is a drop in the ocean in terms of its impact on short-term balancing. It might do 100 to 200 megawatt if people subscribe and pay their, and agree with their supply to be cut off. But the point is, in terms of intermittency, we've had situations not very recently where the system's effectively 2 or 3, 4 days of high-pressure cold has resulted in wind only contributing 4% of electricity demand, despite the fact we have 10 gigawatt installed wind capacity. So nobody quite knows, if you quadruple that, which is the target by 2030, how much more balancing are you going to require? How much more money is going to have to be paid to actually reduce demand to match supply? And the point is that we need to increase. There's 4 things that need to be done here. We need to have more gas-generated power, both peak and base load. We need to have more gas storage. And we need to have a much more effective system of regulating voluntarily with industry's gas demand, so that the gas used for power is there, and gas for heating domestic households is there when it's required. The final thing I think we point is that what this whole decision today reflects is that in many ways the electricity system operator, which is still a part of grid, and the OFGEM, for that matter, have both ceased to be fit for purpose. I think the governance of the energy market, in particular the way that politics, everyday politics, is playing a role in what are long-term investment decisions. We need to take the politics out of the energy, and I think we need to scrap OFGEM, and I think also we need to take the ESO role out of grid and create an independent strategic authority to balance both gas and electricity markets and set long-term, and by long-term I mean 30 to 40-year targets, which makes sense in terms of balancing security, affordability, and, in the longer term, reducing emissions.